Hello, everybody. I'm here with another Meet the Actor. Today, I'm here with Clint Beaver, who you might recognize from things like 5G Zombies and stuff like that. You've been in a lot of Dustin Ferguson films, haven't you?
A lot, yes, a lot of Dustin Ferguson films. He's kind of how I got my start in all this. So,
So that kind of goes with the first thing then. So how did you first get into acting?
With acting, I'd done a little bit like in high school and college. Never thought anything would come of it after that. I wasn't going to be a theater major or anything, so I couldn't commit the time for it. But fast forward many years after that, I was actually at a My Life with the Thrill Kill cult show, and I was there early, waiting for them to open up the venue, and then met this guy outside. It happened to be Dustin, and I just talking to him, I found out he was filming a video for the band because he does a lot of that as well. Mm-hmm. So I friended him on Facebook, and then I found out, he makes low, no budget horror movies, and I just asked him, it's like, hey, can I die in one of your flicks? And he's like, yeah, sure. I'll let you know when I got some available. And it wasn't too much later. I think the first thing I filmed for him, it was part of the Grindsploitation 2 anthology, whereas one of his faux trailers for a fake movie called Satan's Gang.
Mm-hmm. So that kind of goes with what was your first role then? So I guess we'll go with what was your first role talking then? We'll go with that. A speaking role.
Speaking role, it actually would have been the next one I'd worked on with Dustin. It was called The Dummy 2 for Screamtime Films, I believe what that one was for. And I was one of the supporting actors in that. So that was my real first experience having any lines to really memorize other than screaming.
How did you find that, doing the whole remembering stuff and having to be on time with everything?
It was, I have friends that do like a lot of theater acting, so it was easy enough for me to find someone to say, hey, can you read sides with me? So we go through it enough, and then you go on to Dustin's set, and it's a breeze at that point. So.
So you kind of answered how long you've been doing it. So we'll kind of move on from that to what have you worked on, currently working on, or plan to work on? So of course, majority of people aren't planning on working on anything at the moment because what's going on. But yes. you've probably got something potentially in the works, I would have thought.
Well, the two things I was ecstatic about is when I got the call from Dustin to work on 5G Zombies and Angry Asian Murder Hornets,
which is a great film.
My copy's coming. I haven't seen it yet though. So, but how he was able to do that was pretty amazing. He just gets people he trusts and kind of gives you an idea for a scene that he wants, and you just take your camera and tripod or a buddy and go out and film it.
When you did your scene, how did you feel? Because you got nothing to go against when you're acting the bit that you're in. So how did you feel when you're running around like basically a lunatic?
It was at the time I literally it was interesting because I didn't have a tripod and it was very last minute for me, and I couldn't get a hold of it at the time. So I'm bracing my camera on the front of my Jeep on a very windy day where I'm trying to I had like 5 or 6 takes where I was just running across the field screaming.
did anybody come across and think?
I stopped once or twice. I stopped a couple of times when that's also like a mountain bike area there. So I stopped for a while when people were riding by, so they wouldn't stop and start asking me crazy questions to see if I was having a seizure or something. I don't know.
Yeah. So. You got anything in the pipeline? Because obviously you probably more Dustin Ferguson stuff, I would have thought. Because I noticed you're going further and further up inside his gang of people that you works with.
It's Dustin is someone that when he kind of finds his a crew, I try to liken it to something along the lines of Tarantino-esque, because he gets like the same group of 30 or 40 people that he pulls from for his movies. And once Dustin knows that he can trust you, you'll show up, you'll know your lines. He's definitely more willing to cast you in roles for that. But I guess upcoming, some of that would deal with when I can make it to California, where Dustin is at right now. And with the travel times, I'm hoping sometime in late July, but to potentially work on one he has coming up called Arachnado. And that's not a set time for it or anything. This is just, trying to figure out when I can get out there. And also another one that he's going to be working on called Demonoids, which is the feature-length movie from a short that he had done for Tales from the Grave about 3-4 years ago. And I know it'll involve me because I have the demonoids.
you have the demonoids.
I actually have the demonoids.
You need to get to the doctors about that if you've got demonoids.
Exactly. Well, I hear topical salves are making it very complex.
So one of the other things you got on your thing at the moment is IMDb is One Last Kiss. What's that?
You know what? That was it started about 3 or 4 years ago, but I actually I haven't heard anything from the director in a while. So so I think he's just kind of gone off to the way, and I honestly haven't figured out how to get it off of my IMDb page.
Yeah, I've spoken to a few people who've got stuff on their IMDb pages, and they go, I don't know what that is.
That's I think there's another one on there that I'd have to look to see what it is, but
the Bread of Wickedness.
That one is, if it actually, that one, as far as I know, is still in remote chance of actually happening. Just the director, he has had pretty much everything go wrong with his family life and relatives passing. So that one's still a potential. There's one I'm starting to work on now here in Nebraska. It's called Revenge of the Roman Sorceress. It's kind of a Centurion age zombie flick.
All right.
Short. It's a couple of one person I knew and another person. They are writing. They've written it, and we're just we've done a few table reads over multimedia for that, and people are. We can't really get together to film it right now, so people are just trying to get in shape for it. That's about it right now for that.
I imagine some films are going to look a little odd after a while because, of course, you had people probably whatever size body they were before lockdown. And of course, people are going, "What should I do when I'm in lockdown?" Obviously, they're buffing themselves up. So you're probably halfway through a film, you're thinking, "Where's that guy been up to during lockdown? He's clearly been going to the gym."
Yeah. But
so,
I've seen. Go ahead.
That's right. What was you going to say?
Oh no, I've seen. I think it was those, and then there's so much stuff is just kind of waiting. For hopefully the summer when restrictions get let up. I know there's several other short movies in the Omaha and Lincoln area that are just kind of waiting at the moment, and they're even just waiting on the casting. So that's kind of the holding pattern that I think people are in right now.
Yes. But have you got any plans to go potentially behind the cameras? Obviously, you're doing Arachnado. You're executive producer for that, I believe, or associate producer.
Associate producer for that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I help out. I mean, it's when I'm not in front of the screen, I'm usually PA and gripping or whatever they need me to do to help out. I mean, on anybody knows who's worked on small independent films, everyone does everything. Yeah. So it's definitely helped me out when I've had to record this stuff here by myself, where I at least have some experience when it comes to doing a little bit of lighting and how to frame the camera and things like that. I don't know. I've thought about it, but right now I'm pretty happy with helping out and going in front of the camera.
Well, you can also pick up things as you're behind the camera, can't you? When you're just sort of watching what's going on. So yeah. So it's the question that brings up various different answers. So, what advice do you have for upcoming actors, or just people generally want to get into the film industry?
I mean, obviously having some talent in the film industry would help opening the doors, but when it came to me, it was right place, right time.
Hmm.
If you are very you want to do it, you want to help out. If you be reliable, and help out any way you can,
Yeah.
take the initiative on some things, that means a ton to directors and to producers. That will also get them to, well, I know this person will show up every day, so I'm going to bring that person onto the set. And I've had the experience of where I've just been gripping for a show, and one guy didn't show up that day, so I had to jump into a role.
Yeah.
But that also helped that they knew I'd done some on-screen stuff before.
Well, there you go.
But yeah, just having the go for it attitude, really, and being reliable. Those are probably the two biggest things I could tell people.
And ask if you don't know. You mean,
Yeah.
like you did. Just ask if you don't know. Let's
Mhm.
so.
Yeah, I've definitely worked with directors that will say, "Hey, just if you have a question, just ask me. I want you to be more involved with this whole thing, because if everyone has a vested interest in the show, it will churn out better."
Yeah. So I'm gonna quick mention to your hat that you're wearing. That people might recognize you from that as well. He's in the final chapter, which is
I'm actually in two of them.
Yeah.
I was in Meat Hook Massacre 2 for all of like 3 seconds. That was kind of a last second role in yet another Dustin movie, where he said, I have a role for you, but you really got to be okay with it when you got to be in a dog cage in your underwear wearing a gag. So I was like, yeah, sure, why not?
Typical Saturday. Why not?
Exactly. And because I didn't, you did not actually see me die in the movie. When Dustin got around to 5, he wanted to try to bring back people who hadn't died in the previous ones. So he's like, hey, can you make it out to California for, a long weekend, and we'll get all this, filmed up. And that was a blast time, because there was 3 of us that, obviously Robert, who plays Bubba in all of them, he's just about an hour away from me in Lincoln. And then we had a few other people that came up for it, so it was great.
They are fun films. I've said to somebody that they're basically the lower budget versions of, not as in exactly the same way they are Friday the 13th films. The Friday the 13th films were shot and they were bang, 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 one after a year. That's basically what Meat Hook Massacre has become. And every year you're guaranteed there's going to be a Meat Hook Massacre coming out. Which isn't a bad thing.
Yeah, Dustin kind of wanted to take back the reins on when he did the 5th one, and initially I think, like every horror franchise, you want to end it, but then people want to keep doing it. So he's handed it off to a couple people, and I think they're working on 7 once everything settles down.
Well, I think Friday the 13th Part 4, final chapter. Yeah, cut several sequels later.
Exactly. Yeah, as long as they keep making money, or people want to see them, that's what all it takes.
Mm-hmm. So, the last question for you is, promote yourself. So if you have a channel, a YouTube channel, a website, or places to people that can follow you on social media, etc.
Well, I mean, it's I'm Clint Beaver on Facebook and also on IMDb. I don't have a website. I was just happy enough to have an IMDb page out there. When you make the first 1 or 2, you're like, hey, I have this, and it's pretty cool.
I'm on IMDb.
So at least I can always tell somebody, hey, I have this. But I don't have a website. But say just if I try to post I generally do a lot of movie stuff on my Facebook page, and a little bit of personal, but mostly I try to help promote the stuff I do and things that friends of mine are doing as well. Just kind of help the whole indie scene.
So that was your last question of the general list. But is there any projects that you would like to do yourself, as in you might want to write something and go, I want to put that out there?
If I were to, I would actually watching the grindsploitation movies. I'd love to make a faux trailer.
Yeah.
Just crazy over the top, explosions of blood type stuff. And I think that, or few 5-minute shorts. Doing that, when I did that with 5G Zombies, I was talking to Dustin at the time, and I'm like, I have a new respect for you for writing a 60, 70-minute script when I'm having trouble with 5.
Yeah, I've spoken to a few people who have kind of tried to. They've done the short films, written short films, directed them, and then they're going, I'm going to do a feature film, but then it's how do you go from the short film, which is start, middle, and end, but now you got to stretch it out for 90+ pages of a script. So
yeah, you don't need plot in a short, so or much of a plot. You just need a premise.
Well, it was lovely to talk to you.
Yes.
I wish you the best of luck when you can actually go back to doing.
Yes, I think
everyday things.
I think the middle, late summer, early fall is gonna be busy for a lot of people. As the restrictions get lifted and people can kind of actually go out and do things.
Wow, let's look forward to. Well, you haven't seen it yet, but I hope you're looking forward to watching Angry Asian Murder Hornets. It's very entertaining. Yes. You'll enjoy it.
Well, it's either the DVD will show up here, or I'll catch it out on the SoCal Cinema on Demand on the 15th. So,
yep. So there you go. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I definitely appreciate the opportunity to talk about this.